Bassem Handy built Brick.com to 600 paying customers and about $20 million of revenue. Now he comes from Procore, a construction technology company. He started building AI and robots before anybody was calling it AI, survived the VC apocalypse, and is now automating away 80% of his sales team. Over the next 20 minutes, you're going to learn exactly how he convinced 600 customers to pay $3,000 per month per robot. We call it robot as a service. You'll see what actually happened behind the scenes when he got a check from Tiger Global in his Series B. And you're going to learn the one tactic he plans to use to break $1 million of revenue per employee. Are you curious how much profit he makes every month? Watch until the end to find out. So let's jump in. Obviously, the agentic world is hot right now. Everyone, is following the latest ChatGPT or Grok release, but you're doing something much more difficult, which is actually helping this technology penetrate through much older industries. Maybe give an example of a current customer you're working with, just so my audience can quickly understand what you're building at Brick.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you think about what we're doing, so we're not a software company. I never intended to be a software company. When we started in 2018, and we've been doing AI before they even really dubbed it AI. We wanted to be a robot company. So if you think about Brick, what we do is we build robots to replace those humans or at least augment their work streams. If you think about some of our clients, what they'll do is they'll actually employ an accounting robot to help with accounts receivable or accounts payable. Instead of hiring Jenny or Johnny to go through and process invoices or bill clients, or even email clients looking for money. Instead of having a human do that, they have these super intelligent robots that do the work on their behalf. So when it was human involved in the loop, the human would take 2 to 3 days, make a ton of mistakes, whereas the robot works 7/24, 365.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So is your business model then you're basically charging per custom agent you're building per company?
The way we do it is by robot. Generally, it's unlimited transactions, actions, and automation minutes. We do have a consumption-based model that's getting more popular, where it's actually automation minutes. So the number of minutes that they, basically activate the robot for. So there's an unlimited or a committed use model and a per minute model.
Can you maybe give what maybe the average customer might pay you for one of these robots, whatever your most used robot is?
Between $2,000 and $5,000 a month.
Okay, so it is recurring. It's not a one and done kind of thing. You build it and then they pay on a consumption model, consumption block, etc. Okay, yeah. So maybe not traditional SaaS, but it's almost better, right? It's utility based, right?
I call it robot as a service. It's Waymo versus Uber. It's the idea here is that these autonomous robots can plug into those work streams without them hiring more people. That's really the goal.
How many customers are you serving now today?
Yeah, we're about 600 customers now. We did 2.6 million automation minutes last month alone. 45,000 person hours.
Okay.
That is, if you think about it, it was probably about 10 automation minutes a month when we started in 2018. So the growth has been enormous. Obviously, we lived through those roaring 20s and, had to get to cash flow break even, which we did at the end of last year. So, that was the big transition. I think for anybody that's a founder now, they know it's not easy to raise.
I do want to talk, if you're comfortable being open and sort of transparent about this stuff, you did raise in the heyday. Tiger Global was famous for basically writing blank checks at insane valuations that any founder would be crazy not to take back in 2021. Based on my research, I think you did do that. And no board seat, no control, maybe a little secondary juice. I don't know, but they were very famous for doing that to get into deals as well. Yeah. But if you're comfortable sharing, I'd love to get your take on sort of how you right size the business in sort of a non-bubble era, because you have a base that's going to be very in demand over the next decade. And I think before you dive in and answer that question, can I take the 600 customers you just articulated and the midpoint of monthly revenue, you said between 2 and 5K per month, let's take 3,500 a month. Can I multiply those together, Bassem, and get about 20 million run rate, 25 run rate today?
No, we're less than that in run rate. Our ASP is still a little bit lower than what our current average robot price is, but you're in the right ballpark.
Okay.
You're definitely
Are you comfortable teaching all the other entrepreneurs listening right now about the right sizing and what you did in 2021 in terms of fundraising and where you're at today?
Yeah. So when you wake up, we were in the middle of doing our Series C, and that was like a real kick in the gut when you realize that all of a sudden the entire VC market contracted. So we're literally talking about 2x former round valuations to we can't raise. right? So that is a really stark moment as an entrepreneur. You're not going to sleep. And the idea here is when you're burning as hot as we were in 21, which they
Can
were
you share
asking
how
us to
much? I
burn.
mean, are you talking like 500K net burn monthly, a million net burn
Oh,
monthly, more?
500K, that would be a good month. We were about a million a month. So
Okay. Okay.
we're in there burning a million a month. And you go to every board meeting, they're like, grow fast. We're also growing like 150%. So you're in there
Okay.
and you're like, hey, let's burn, let's grow and burn, grow and burn. I mean, it all came from the DNA at Procore, right? So, I'd go into board meeting and say, hey, my CAC is lower this month. And they're like, or this quarter. And they're like, why? Go spend more. So,
Spend more.
the VCs really did stoke a lot of the fires, and then they just slammed on the brakes. I don't even know if VCs exist anymore post seed, thanks to David Sachs and the All In podcast. Like, go for the seed. So, funny thing is, when you do that, a lot of our vintage disappeared. Like a huge amount of our vintage disappeared. Because if you're burning and you can't slam on the brakes, make tough decisions, cut, and have product market fit at that moment, then you have a problem, right? And nobody knew whether or not we would survive in post the contraction. So we have great insiders. So they did, hey, let's do this. Let's forget about the C for now. Let's fund. And we did, we added a couple of extra strategics. Let's fund. And we did. And let's figure out what's going on. So first thing we did was really take a good hard look at the groupthink that had been produced around our company. I think when you're growing, we had about 350 employees. When you're growing and you're selling multiple
What year was that,
products,
Bassem? What year was 350 employees?
21, mid 21, mid to late.
Okay, and just for the audience to follow along, you just correct me if any of this is wrong, you did that seed round, ENIAC and Blackthorn, I think 3 million, maybe 3 million tranche or 6 million together, I'm not sure what, and then a Series A of 10 million, 3 million.
Moved into Blackhorn, that was our Series A. And then Tiger.
That was 10 million.
So, yeah, so it was like 18, 20, 21. That's really seed A, B.
3 million, 10 million, 30 million Series B, June 2021.
Yeah, and
then you had
I think we've
right
raised
size,
all
I think.
four of about 50 million, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, talk to me about the B round. You can call it whatever you want. B round extension, a reset, whatever. The 8 million raised in January 2024, was that a down round? Was it a flat valuation? Some of the press reports were a flat 150 million valuation.
Yeah,
are you comfortable commenting on that?
Yeah, it was flat. It was flat.
Okay.
There were obviously some, sprinkling in of some kickers, and every founder knows that you have to do some kickers here and there. But yeah, it was flat.
You mean secondary?
No, sir. Secondary. Nathan, are you kidding?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What's a kicker? I don't know what that means.
Like kickers to the investors so that they can get a little bit of juice to when they get through and support. So the insiders were supportive.
I see.
There were some things you had to give them.
I see. Okay. Well, hey, thank you for being so vulnerable on that stuff. A lot of founders just read TechCrunch and they think the metric of success is just how much can you raise, right? And so we rarely get founders that are comfortable sharing the sort of story.
Yeah, that used to be the flex, Nathan.
Obviously,
how much can you raise and how many employees do you have? And I think we're doing more in revenue than we did with a third the number of employees. I think
that's good. Yeah, and I think what you guys cut down to 135 employees or something like that today.
Correct. Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah.
That's the real
revenue
flex
per
now,
employee is a beautiful metric.
That is, yeah.
Like, look, so can you use your own robots to replace your own team and get down to 5 people on your entire team doing 20 million of ARR?
Don't tell any of the brick employees. Now, yes, we do want to do. I'd rather put it this way, Nathan. I'd like to double the size of the company in the next 3 years with the same headcount. That is our goal.
There you go.
Fully automated. Awesome. Right now, we have 80% automation in the BDR side. Our CAC, we have really overabundance of inbound, obviously, from AI. So, we get that kind of AI glow helps us. But our CAC last quarter was the lowest in my career.
That makes a ton of sense. Cool. And so let's get back and get your launch story a little bit. Procore, obviously, everyone knows Procore, wildly successful, right, in the construction space. So understand your genes come from there. Why leave that gig? What year did you launch this? And how long did it take you to get your first customer?
Oh, sure. So just a little of my story. I was early at Procore as employee 103 at EVP of Marketing and Strategy. We grew from 10 to 150 million in ARR. IPO'd, and my ultimate goal was to be an entrepreneur. I really wanted to find the right place to be. And, when right around actually, believe it or not, the 2016 election, there was all these conversations about bots posting to Twitter and Facebook. And I really got into that technology and kind of went down the rabbit hole. And so I thought, what if we could take these bots to do good? Instead of posting on Twitter or amplifying, a racist message, what if these robots could be trained to do stuff that humans do in the office and back office? So that's where the idea came from. And I was lucky enough to be able to raise seed fund very quickly. Our first client, particularly sexy story.
Well, what year was that, Bassem? The seed. When did you write the first line of code, and then when was the seed round closed? Do you remember?
2018. Seed round closed before we wrote our first line of code. It was back in the good old days. So we closed our seed round and then started writing. We closed it on an idea and $1 in a dream. ENIAC and Metaprop were the two great seed VCs. ENIAC being more horizontal seed funder and Metaprop being more industry specific. So we said, hey, we want to build robots to replace people in the back office. And they thought we were a little crazy. They liked my story. I'm a go-to-market CEO. I think that helps. We kind of sold the dream of what it could do and then wrote the code.
And can you tell me the story of your first customer? What did you charge them? What did you sell them? Was it a design partner, or you hadn't built it, they prepaid? How'd you think about that?
So we, finger in the air. I mean, we guessed. So we hired our first engineer, and guy sat at Pune, India. He's still with us. He's actually the SVP of automation today. And it was me, my co-founder, Ron Goldschmidt, and a gentleman by the name of Ash Kapoor. And then we started adding more and more people, obviously. But the first client was a friend of mine. 3 co-founders. Say again?
3 co-founders.
No, well, technically there's 2, and Ash was kind of the first technical hire.
Okay.
So a friend of mine had a robotic issue. They needed to work with Meta, Facebook, on a project management platform that Facebook wanted them to use. And they were forced to hire people to do data entry into this Facebook platform to do this data center construction project. So we said, this is a great use case. I think we charged them like $12,000 for the entire project. We were just hoping for anything. We really just needed proof points. And we literally went out there and built a robot that took data from the general contractor system and put it into Meta's system and vice versa. Because there obviously, when you have a cross-platform like that, there's no API access. I think that's really kind of the fundamental. This robot acts like a human. So they logged into Meta's system, extracted data, logged into the general contractor system, and vice versa. So that's the first robot we ever launched.
That's wild. So that first customer was back in what, 2019?
2019, yeah. It was good. Actually, late 2018. So we seed funded in early 18, wrote some code, got the client, and kind of the sky's the limit after that. So we have, there's been a lot. We can get into a lot of the nitty gritty. I think AI right now has a lot of like Y Combinator kind of fugazi with a couple people and, a ChatGPT wrapper. I think it's unusual for people to see AI companies that are 7 years old. So I think there's a lot.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, these wrappers are going to die. You're not building a wrapper. I don't get the sense you're building a wrapper at all when my team gave me the research on the business. So before we wrap up here with the famous 5, if people want to learn more about you and the business, where can they find you online?
Oh, you can go on LinkedIn, find me. I think I'm one of the few Bassem Handys out there, and brick.com, obviously.
All right. Famous 5 here. Rapid fire answers if you can. CEO you're following or studying?
I still follow Elon Musk. I know it sounds really unpopular, but I like watching this degrading situation that we're having. I think he's smart, did a lot of things, overextended himself, and kind of, it's a cautionary tale, but I think it's an interesting one still.
Yeah. Number 2, is there a book recently that you read, a business book you'd recommend?
I've stopped reading business books. I find them like they're the self-help section. I hate to say it, every business book I pick up seems to have some angle that sells me on some other idea. Right now, with focus, determination, and what we really need to do right now, I'm forging a trail that I can't read a book on. So that's, I kind of divulge myself with business
Number
books.
3, that's good. What's your favorite online tool besides your own?
got to be Claude. I hate to say it.
Yeah. Number 4, how many hours of sleep are you getting each night?
Ugh, this is a bad one, man. So I'm into life extension. I'm getting about 5. I'm getting about 5.
Okay. All right. Fair
I'm
enough.
trying to upgrade.
And what's your
that.
situation, Bassem? Married, single, kiddos running around?
Yeah, married, got a 12-year-old. Just picked him up from camp in Maine, so he's back. Kid's
Great.
taller than I am, but it's a good life.
That's great. And last question, take us back to your 20-year-old self. What's something you wish you knew?
Uh, at 20, or what my 20-year-old should tell me now. I wish I knew I could be.
20, yeah.
I wish I knew I could be as confident as I am today than when I was then. I actually, I'm a late founder, right? So I was, 40-ish. I think I would have delved into entrepreneurship earlier than I did. I wish I told him that.
Yep. Guys, Bassem Handy, CEO and co-founder of Brick, an AI automation platform focusing on construction, energy, and manufacturing. They charge between $2,000 and $5,000 per customer. Those customers, their customers, are paying for robots that they build to help increase basically automatic or automation minutes each month, which are more efficient than human minutes. Over 600 customers today doing, call it just south of a $25 million run rate, but really getting more efficient after the heyday years in 2021 when they raised a bunch of capital, Series B, 30 million-ish in June 2021 with Tiger and Contech in their B round. Again, now really focusing on this movement in the LLMs, the agent space, and really trying to position themselves to bring that new technology to these older industries based on his experience prior to this at Procore, which was a huge software success story. Bassem Handy, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you, Nathan. Cheers.